Good afternoon, all from the UK. It's a beautiful sunny day on Wednesday, even though I thought it was Thursday today. God knows, mind me. But anyway, why we need shit in our lives for us to grow. Now, you're going to be thinking, like, is this lunatic back on again? What the hell is he talking about now? Yeah, we're going to cover it with my brilliant guest, Karen Unruh, who is also from the UK.
Yes, good old UK.
Good old UK. Now, all I've got to say for the very first time is welcome on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Adam. I've been following a lot of your broadcasts and I love what you do. So it's great to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, obviously, this is live on YouTube. This is live in the Facebook page, The Mental Health Warriors. So please share anyone that's going to be tuning in today. Now, I'm going to kickstart with some quick fire questions for you, Karen.
Okay, off you go.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Tea or coffee?
Do you know I'm coffee mad, but this is not funny, but I've had gut issues over the last year and I've had to quit all caffeine. So I am drinking boring rooibos tea, red bush tea. So I've had to cut out the coffee.
Yeah. Well, I'm on filtered water at the minute, but my cup's somewhere in the living room, and no, I'm not getting it. Anyway, next one is Christmas or Halloween?
Oh, Christmas every time, yes. Not because I hate all the tinsel. I'm not a tinsel, love all the carols in the shops type person, but I just love it as a family get together, closeness, Christmas every time.
Brilliant. Pop or jazz?
Oh, it depends on the mood you catch me in. I like a little bit of jazz, but I'd rather bop around. I think I like a bit of pop.
Fair enough. And the final one is
when I lived in London. I lived very near to a fantastic gay club, and you don't get better pop to dance to than a good gay club.
Okay, fair enough. And the last one I'm going to throw is favourite weather.
Oh, dear Lord, sunshine. Anything that shows blue sky. My God, I was born on the wrong continent. I mean, we live in a country where if evolution continues on, where children are going to be born with webbed feet so they can actually get around better. It's too wet.
It is. Well, this is our summer, isn't it? Where we get about 5 days of sun and then we get about a month of rain.
Well,
That's
this is it. We don't actually have summer anymore. We just have the occasional 3-day heat wave.
Yes. Spring, autumn, winter. That's what it is.
Yes.
Anyway, so we'll dive in and just give the viewers a little bit of a backstory of who Karen Unruh is.
Who is Karen Unruh? Okay. I was raised in a very loving family, and yet my parents belonged to a deeply fundamentalist, evangelical, Pentecostal, charismatic, holler in the aisles church, and it was very hellfire and brimstone, and I grew up with a lot of fear, basically, from this. In fact, now they've actually come up with a term for it, which is called religious abuse syndrome, where unintentionally, my parents weren't going, right, we are going to put her in a church where she will fear for her existential self. But, when you're raised in a heaven or hell, Don't get out of God's will. And that was paramount, basically, to me developing complex PTSD. So even though I was very loved, I had a deep issue with safety. And also, as part of this church, they sort of, God chooses your partner. Oh, and I ended up being married to an American GI who was stationed in the UK at the time, and who I didn't love, who I didn't fancy. Yeah, getting married because it was perceived that that was God's will for me to do. And then I endured 10 years of domestic violence in the United States because he was stationed as an airman out there. While out there, I was bored to tears and I joined the American Army as a combat medic and did basic training in Alabama and my medic training in Texas and loved it, absolutely loved it. It was it's funny, you got all these California girls going, oh my God, I just don't understand why the drill sergeant has to be so cruel, because they come from schools where, you can call the teacher by the first name. I came from a grammar school, darling, run by spinsters. Not quite nuns, but very tyrannical spinsters. So my drill sergeant seemed like a pussycat. And eventually, after 10 years of putting up with this abuse, I escaped my marriage with my 2-year-old, came back to England. And yes, I was emotional scrambled eggs at the time. I mean, my mother sat with her legs closed because I just kept begging her, please, can I re-enter the womb and start again? And she's going, no, darling.
We can all dream.
Yes. You're a little big. And but eventually I was misdiagnosed for 25 years and had every antidepressant and group therapy thrown at me. But eventually, thankfully, after many breakdowns, I started seeing a mental health trauma therapist and got the proper diagnosis of complex PTSD. And that was 8 years ago. So even though I am of an ancient age and I don't write my name anymore, I write my carbon data. Thankfully, I'm walking in recovery in CPTSD, and life has taken on a whole new stability and joy. So that's it in a nutshell. Not sure which nut, but it's a nutshell. Oh, and I worked in London. I worked in London as a mentor for mental health charities for 20 years.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Now, let's process all that in. Speaking of my partner, my beautiful partner, she is tuned in, and obviously she put hi, and obviously she made a little bit of an error because she put love the saying we need shots in our lives to grow. Not this, we need shit.
Yes, we do.
She'll be upstairs now laughing about that. But anyway, I still love her.
Maybe she's talking about a shot of tequila. I'm not against that.
I'm actually on the detox.
Ah, good boy.
Yeah. Oh well, that's another conversation. But anyway, come on, Karen, professionalism here, professional.
Sorry, I don't know what that is.
No, nobody does. But anyway, I'm going to obviously lead on to, I can't believe I'm going to say this about you, but what was you like in school?
In school? Okay. I went to an all-girls grammar school, darling. Leamington College for Girls.
Because when because I'm asking that because I'm thinking Karen must have been the class clown or the entertainer.
I spent many a time standing outside the headmistress's office for not paying attention in class and making everyone laugh. And yes, and having my parents called to the school, and my best friend and I being split up in class so we couldn't giggle together while the teacher was talking. I even got told off for talking in the army. So there you go. Yes. Class clown.
There you go. There you go. I know. It's one of them. Because I'm always promoting use born with the voice box. So why should you be silent? You bloody well use it.
Exactly. Plus, I've always, I mean, I'm not saying to misbehave in class, but I've always been someone that has just seen the funny side of things, you know.
Yeah.
And an ex-girlfriend of mine once said, "Is there ever a thought you have that you don't verbalize?" And I said, "No, I don't think there is."
Oh my god. So obviously you're a class clown. I bet you walked away with GCSEs if that's what it was back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 3 A levels,
Well,
darling. 3 A levels. Come
wow.
on. 3 A levels.
Oh, please, Kerry, don't get me or Karen start singing because you always look on the bright side of life. You're gonna get us singing.
Always look on the bright side of life. Boo 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 boo. Anyway, go on. Yeah. You can't beat Monty Python.
Brilliant. So yeah, why do we need shit in our lives for us to grow?
Well, you know, we live in a society which tells us that we need to be a bouquet. You know, cut flowers in a beautiful vase, and hence, that's a word that isn't used very often anymore. Hence, this obsession with filtering your selfie so that you're always presented as marvelous and glorious and blah blah blah, when in actual fact, once you cut a flower and put it in a vase, it begins to die. Creation, evolution, whatever, seems to have decided that shit is what things grow best in. And
that's what compost is made out of.
Exactly. The world is run on poo. And obviously it takes a while to let go of the fairy tale that we're all going to be these beautiful cut flowers, you know, and life's going to be a piece of cake. Mixed metaphor there. But very soon you learn that if you want to grow, you got to go through shit, because that's what we're designed to grow in. We're no different to a rose or a tomato or anything. We grow in shit.
We do. Like, just look at us. We
Yes.
grew up traumatic pasts.
Absolutely.
Suicide attempts, negativity, bullying,
Breakdowns.
just a lot. And now look at us. We're sat here live on YouTube laughing.
Well, this is the thing. You have to choose whether you're going to grow. You can just sit there with a peg on your nose in the shit and stubbornly refuse to respond to your growth environment and just sit there and moan and grumble and grow bitter, or do what you and I have done, often through gritted teeth and tears, but go, okay, I'm going to grow. I'm going to use this to make me a better person. I'm going to use this to develop resilience. I'm going to use this to conquer fear. And then one blossoms into a rose.
Exactly. Well, think about it. Before we was all born, we was that very tiny peanut seed, whatever. And look, we started to grow, grew arms, grew legs, grew everything.
Yeah.
And now look, we're here. So
We're
what
here.
difference is it now than it was before we was born?
Well, the world was a sadder place without us, Adam. I mean, that's just the truth of it.
Exactly. 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 Oh, Kerry, and you know what? I'm actually going to put that on screen. So, Kerry, your comments going live on YouTube. Here we go. She has just put that. I'm a better person now. I've known the darkness of mental health, and it was the saying we have to go through shit to grow. That helps. Thank you, Karen. You're amazing.
Woo! Thank you, Kerry. And it's true. There's times when, again, we live in a push button society where, you put your coin into the machine and out comes a Coke at the bottom. And, we expect the same sort of easy results in our own lives. But in actual fact, it's very, very similar expression, that actually helped me. I was doing housework and there was some guy on BBC4 talking about whatever. And he suddenly said, in order to get through it, you got to go through it. You can't circumvent it. You can't tunnel under it. You can't jump over it. You got to go through it. And it's that process of daring to come out of your comfort zone, face your fears and go through it that then brings you out on the other side smelling like a rose.
Exactly. And as the saying goes, no pain, no gain.
Exactamundo. No pain, no gain. Mind you,
I've not heard that before.
a friend and I used to talk about the fact that, it's all, we're going through another hard time. Well, it's all about growth. It's okay. It's all about growth. And then we'd say, I think I've got enough growths already. Can't somebody just stop with the growths? But yeah, if you want to grow, you got to go.
Nobody ever stops. Nobody ever stops growing. Nobody.
No.
No. If you think you're going to stop growing, go back to sleep. It's
Yes.
like I said last night when I was being interviewed. If you're dreaming small and you wake up, go back to sleep because you're not dreaming big enough.
Exactly. I like that. That's good.
You'll probably nick it.
I will. I'll probably nick it. It'll be a meme on Twitter before you know it.
Okay. Fair enough. Let's do this. Now, obviously you can follow us on Twitter as well. We're on Twitter. I think it's the Warriors of Mental Health. I'm not sure. I need to double check it. It's Kevin that monitors all that.
Oh, great.
But anyway, let's
talk
about.
And I'm on Twitter as Karen Unruh. So
there you go. Hashtag never quit. That's right. But yeah, let's talk about these charity shops. Not charity shops, sorry.
Mental health charities.
That's it. That's it.
Let's get this straight. I didn't work in a charity shop. No. I wasn't selling secondhand clothing. As much as I love to rummage through a good charity shop as anybody else. But no, I was a mental health mentor in mental health charities in London. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. Like, what got you involved with that?
Well, interestingly enough, I never thought I'd get involved in the mental health side of work because my mother was bipolar. She lived either on the Arctic or the Antarctic, depended on her mood. Sorry, that's a bad joke. And so I saw my fair share of excruciating depression growing up. and mental health scared the shit out of me. But when I developed CPTSD and was having my breakdowns, blah, 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 I ended up in the mental health system in the UK. And eventually they decided that I was well enough to be discharged from their system. I was never hospitalized, but as an outpatient. And they recommended I start working with a group called Step Forward, which helped you move on to developing a life. They had mentors who worked with you on self-esteem building and anxiety management and all that sort of thing. And then they had another side to the charity, which was helping you back into training or part-time work. Anyway, so I started with them, and I'd had 4 sessions with my mentor. And he said, Karen, my boss wants to meet you. And I said, really? So I went to meet his boss, and she became a very good friend. And she said to me, honey, you're on the wrong side of the table. This guy's been telling me, about the insight you've developed through your illness. And this is before I'd been actually diagnosed, but I'm an analyzer. So I was, and so she said, would you like to come start working part-time as a mentor? And I said, what? And I did, and ended up managing a team of mentors. And boy, just by chance, found my passion. Absolutely. Yeah. To see hope ignited in somebody else. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I remember the first time I got involved with the mental health industry, and at first it was really tough. Like you're getting all these people coming to you saying, "Can you help me with this? I feel suicidal. I'm self-harming. I've got medication next to me. What do I do?" It's like, wow, it all comes at you, hits you at once. But think about it logically, it's really good because it keeps you on your toes. And like you, when I got involved, I've never looked back.
So what was your initial involvement? What was your initial involvement, Adam?
My initial involvement was experience.
Well, yes.
I got involved
by experience, they call us, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I use my experience, and obviously I gained the qualifications to coach people. And I thought, I need to do this. I need to give back to the community for them helping me. The NHS, they fobbed me off too many times. So, but I always believe now, fair enough. And please, nobody take this advice, or take it if you want. That's your choice. But they never helped me. The NHS never helped me. But that does not mean they won't help you. I just prefer to go to people that have been through the trauma themselves.
Yeah, it's very interesting with the mental health system. I mean, I was one of the lucky ones. I got a good psychiatrist, I got a decent community psychiatric nurse, and I got a great key worker. But that is not the norm, because 1% of government money goes into the mental health system. They treat us like second-class citizens. There's a lot of stigma in that money. And the mental health staff are overworked, heavy caseloads. It's not always their fault, but also they're overworked and they're jaded and they're tired. And the system as a whole tends to, you go into your doctor's office and you say, I don't understand what's wrong with me. I can't cope. I'm feeling suicidal. And they go, okay, so you see this pill, this green and yellow pill. You take this, but I don't want a pill. I want to talk to somebody. They go, well, now that, honey, I'm sorry, it's going to take about 9 months. So I love the NHS, And I don't blame them as much as I do the fact that the government doesn't fund the people passionate about working with people with mental health issues.
Don't get us started on them.
No, don't get us started on that.
I know, because they'll end up shutting this video down. Anyway, anyway, but yeah, you're right. I believe GPs, they're not fully aware. Yeah,
No.
it's recognised, but I don't think they're fully aware of mental health
No.
itself, because after doing some research for Autism Awareness Week, which is next week, we came across that in 100 people, adults, who have got autism have
Wow.
also got mental health.
Well, it doesn't surprise me at all, because it goes, I mean, we're more aware of it now, but a lot of it for so long went unaddressed. You know, they were the naughty kids. They weren't the troubled kids. They were the naughty kids. And they would get expelled, or they'd get sent to special schools. When in actual fact, you know, autism, or being on the Asperger's spectrum, you know, you need understanding and compassion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just going to go onto my profile now, because I've actually shared some yesterday about that.
Right.
And it says here, obviously in the UK there are around 700 people with autism. That's 1 in 100. School exclusions.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Let's just have a look here. Hang on a minute. No, mental health support. Oh, when it comes, 1 in 3 adults, sorry, with autism, not 1 in 100. I got it mixed up, but it's
Right.
1 in 3 adults with autism are experiencing severe mental health difficulties, and that is due to a lack of support.
Yes, and I think there's a lot of stigma around autism, because they interact differently. You know, there aren't the same sort of social cues. You know, they can come across as quite different, and there's a lot of stigma to the condition, because they get ridiculed, or they get cast off as useless, when actually they're usually very, very, very bright.
Look at Albert Einstein for one.
Was he autistic?
He was. He actually had Asperger's, and he was actually kicked out of school at the age of 14 and
Really?
labelled as stupid. But then look what he became.
Yeah.
Now,
exactly.
with one of his theories about speed of light, there's nothing faster than speed of light. That's where he was wrong, because there is something faster than speed of light, and that is our thought.
Oh, true. Those and thoughts can be an ally, and thoughts can be the bloody enemy. And thought control, I don't mean you know, manipulating someone to get you a cup of tea, but learning to manage our thoughts and to understand why we have certain thoughts is key, absolutely key to recovery. Learning to manage, you know, intrusive thoughts, and understand ourselves and why our thought cycle is as it is, rather than just assuming this is the essence of me. I'm a piece of shit. I'm rubbish. I'm weak. I'm pathetic. No, that's not the essence of you. That's the conditioning you received growing up with caretakers who didn't nurture you. The essence of us all is beautiful and strong and powerful. And I think a lot of mental health recovery is actually mostly about unlearning than learning. You know,
Absolutely.
Unlearning what we've been conditioned to think about ourselves, low self-value.
Did you actually know that autism and PTSD go in hand?
No, I did not.
Yeah, it does. And I believe, because obviously our son was excluded unfairly from his last school due to his autism. And I've actually got the figures here, and it says, did you know 27% of children with autism have been excluded from school, compared with only 4% of children who have not got autism?
Well, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. And again, that's part education. We shouldn't have 30 kids under one teacher. Again, understaffing, underfunding, as well as you've said, not enough education for the teachers about
Yeah.
how to reach
Handle autistic kids, yeah.
and meet autistic kids' needs, yeah. And also
Yeah.
how to teach the other kids how to treat them with respect and not bully them.
Don't get me started on that. But anyway, I'm gonna save that for Autistic Awareness Week.
Yeah,
I really am.
yeah.
But yeah, going back to you, obviously you love working for mental health charities. So
Yeah.
I almost said charity shop again. See, I don't know why.
Maybe that's my destiny.
No. Hey, I've got a destiny, all right, because the number 46 keeps appearing in my face.
The number 46, what, sorry?
The number 46 keeps appearing in my face. So I'm only 30 years old.
Oh,
And
right.
either something's going to happen when I'm 46, or something's going to happen on the 4th of June this year.
Oh, conspiracy theory.
I don't know. But we can speculate a lot of things, but if we keep speculating, we're going to drive ourselves insane. And by the time I become 46, I'm probably not going to have any hair.
Oh, well, the beauty of getting older is that your eyesight goes so that when you look in the mirror, you can't see the wrinkles or the baldness or the. So nature has worked it out that we can't see ourselves as well as we get older. Because I look in the mirror and there's always a new wrinkle, and I just go. So my new philosophy in life is that authenticity is the new sexy. Not beauty, not youth, but authenticity.
I've not heard that. But anyway, have you written a book?
How did you know? Yes, I have.
Let's talk about that.
It's called Blue Jellyfish Syndrome. And I wrote it about, must be 4 years ago now, and self-published it. It's on Amazon. And it's called Blue Jellyfish Syndrome, How to Beat Stigma and to Maintain Hope While Living with a Mental Illness. Now, why? You do. Now, why is your next question? Is it called Blue Jellyfish Syndrome? Well, it's called, do you want to know?
Go on then, go on.
It goes back to labeling, throughout the history of mental health. We've been labeled everything from loonies to diagnosis labels, etc. And I had a client come in one day, and we began work together. She had yet to have been given a diagnosis, and it certainly wasn't my place to give her a diagnosis, but I could tell from her symptoms that she had borderline personality disorder. So I began working with her along the lines of that diagnosis. And we worked together for weeks. And then she came in one day and was just beside herself, in a real state, crying, really upset. And I said, gosh, what's the matter? She said, I've just come from a psychiatrist and I've been given my diagnosis and I've got this thing called borderline personality disorder. I'm a freak. What's wrong? I can't, And I said, stop right there. said, stop. Do you feel any different today than you did the first time you came to see me? You know, are your symptoms any different? She said, no. Okay. So psychiatrists love to put a label on us because that means then they know what treatment to throw at us. But we are not defined by our labels. They don't really mean anything. So I said, from now on, instead of calling it BPD, I'm going to call it blue jellyfish syndrome. Do you mind being a blue jellyfish? And she laughed her head off and said, no, I don't mind being a blue jellyfish at all. And so I said, well, I call my CPTSD pink flamingo syndrome, you know. In other words, let's drop the labels and let's just treat ourselves and each other as human beings who have symptoms, but not.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that because I bet you as well, and other people. I'm going to compare this now, and I've just brought it up and I've got it in front of me now. I'm going to take Winnie the Pooh, for example.
I love Winnie the Pooh.
Yes. We grew up loving the characters.
Yeah.
Did you know every single character in Winnie the Pooh has got some sort of disorder? Everyone.
Well, I knew Eeyore did, but I wasn't sure about the others. Well,
I'll tell you now.
Addiction.
Yeah, I'll tell you that now. Winnie the Pooh has got impulsivity.
Yeah, an addiction to food.
Yeah. Piglet has got anxiety.
Yes. Little Piglet.
Roo has got autism.
Oh.
Tigger has got ADHD.
Well, that's without a doubt. Yes.
Eeyore has got depression.
Yeah.
Rabbit has got OCD.
Ah.
Kanga has got social anxiety.
Right.
And Owl has got dyslexia.
Yes, because he always misspelt the signs on his door.
Exactly.
Yes.
But again, this goes back to labels.
Yes.
So we grew up loving the characters, not loving the disorders.
No.
Because we never recognised that there was something going on.
No. In fact, we grew to love their quirks and crazy little traits. And we saw them as positives. And also they were a tribe of friends who unconditionally accepted each other while also taking the piss out of each other, which is so important. Yeah. And they were a unit that supported each other, which is vital. So, yes, that's a very good model. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah.
No, you do. And Kerry's just put off subject. Is that a cat behind Karen?
I don't see a cat. A cat? Oh, yes.
Yes, it is, Kerry. Yes.
That's Harley. He's all tucked up and sleeping so that he can keep me awake all night.
Oh, do what?
But you know
I drive myself into them.
I've just remembered something. The guy who wrote Winnie the Pooh
Christopher Robin.
Well, no, he didn't know. Christopher Robin didn't write it. It was A.A. Milne.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's okay. I'll correct you whenever you need it. It's all right. And but A.A. Milne, and I don't think that was his real name, but anyway, he came back from World War I with shell shock. And his wife, anybody who's seen the film, Christopher Robin, well worth seeing. His wife could see that he had stopped being a writer. He was withdrawing from the world. And she said, I'm going to do you a favor, because she adored him. I'm going to leave for a period of time until you start writing. And she left their son, Christopher Robin, with him. And so he had to learn to engage with Christopher Robin. And he did it through developing these characters, and his own shell shock, his own mental health issue, obviously bled into the characters. And he probably slayed a few demons in writing that.
Yeah, see, obviously, I've come across another picture as well. It says Winnie the Pooh's got an eating disorder, Piglet anxiety disorder, Tigger ADHD, Owl has got a narcissistic personality disorder.
Yes, he's a bit of a megalomaniac. Yes.
Yeah. Rabbit OCD, obviously ER, major depression disorder, and Christopher Robin as well, schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia? Wonder
Yeah.
where they get that from. Christopher Robin,
Yeah,
schizophrenia. Well, he was deluded. He was seeing animals that were talking.
I don't know if you can see that.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a great way to teach kids about things, isn't it? I hadn't thought of that at all.
Absolutely. Hey, you're probably going to steal that as well.
I probably will. Well, if you go onto my YouTube page, which doesn't have much on it, but I have read out loud there's many a Winnie the Pooh story on there, because a friend of mine said he loved Winnie the Pooh, loved my voice for some reason. It's all whiskey and cigarettes, and no, it's not. And asked if I would read them out loud, and they became incredibly popular, which is lovely. And but for all of their mental health issues, because they don't treat each other according to a label, there is so much joy in these stories. And once we get labeled, and once we tend to define ourselves by our labels, the joy goes. All we don't need a label. We just need to be told, you have this symptom and that symptom. We're not going to call it anything. We're just going to treat it.
We need the support.
Yeah, we need the support, but we don't need, to have slapped on our head borderline personality disorder or schizoaffective disorder, or,
Yeah. See, I'm going to backtrack to what you said earlier about therapists and medication. And it is known that since lockdown in the last year, more prescription medication has been prescribed, but less therapies have been referred.
Yeah. Well, that's because you see, the trouble is, and this is what made me passionate as well, is that I was working in a very underprivileged part of London, Elephant and Castle, which is a funny name for a place, but southeast London. And so most of the people I was working with as clients were on benefit, were on welfare. Now, if you've got money, you can get therapy, and great therapy, straight away. You can go private. But if you are dependent upon the mental health system with its lack of funding, you won't get to talk to anybody for ages. So I now see clients like you do. Well, I don't. Yeah. Using social media, and I charge £50 for 90 minutes, and that's also a sliding scale. I go down as low as 30 if people really have trouble paying, because I have to make a living. But
exactly,
I want there to be available talking therapy for people, no matter what their income. And it's become an elitist thing to be able to afford good therapy, and it shouldn't be that way.
See, I believe since lockdown, people who have got mental health, therapists who are charging because they have to, like you said, to earn an income, like yourself and myself, therapists have been so much attacked and criticised because they're saying, "Oh, why do you need to charge when I could go to the NHS for free?" And I actually said to a few people, "Fine, if you want to go to the NHS for free to be prescribed medication that will not work,
Yeah.
and you want to wait a year for that
Yeah.
because of COVID, be
Yeah.
my guest,
Yeah.
because you're here, I'm here, and we are ready to take appointments now, and we can offer it.
Absolutely.
We can offer the
Abs-
support now."
absolutely. Now. And if all somebody, I mean, I've had people, I've got clients who want a lot of input, and I've got clients who actually just need to talk.
Yeah,
And of course, I will give input when necessary or when they want it. But either way, talking and being listened to is so validating, and also enables you to articulate and verbalize what rummages around in your head, and is incredibly helpful. So if somebody just wants to talk because they've got no one else, I mean, let's face it, most of our friends don't want to hear about our
no,
suicidal ideation or difficulty in dealing with daily life. Some people have no one to talk to about their issues, and just verbalizing them can minimize them.
yeah, absolutely. The amount of people I have lost due to my mental health, the amount of friends I've lost,
Yeah.
family I lost, I don't regret it. I don't regret losing them because I've become this powerful person. Yeah, fair enough. I've not got a lot of money behind me, but what? Yeah, money can buy nice things, but it doesn't buy happiness. It just
No,
numbs it.
this is the other thing that makes me so angry about a capitalist society, is that um, in order for capitalism, listen to me, I sound like a political professor, but there's
Go
a
for
point,
it.
there's a point to this. In order in a capitalist society for it to continue, companies have to keep making profit. Now, that means that they have to keep selling their products to us, whether we want them or need them, right? So any ad you watch is actually, for any product, is actually only selling you one thing that's vital to capitalism, and that is discontentment with who you are, how you look, where you live, and what you have. I mean, for instance, my phone works perfectly well, but
Yeah,
you're made to feel that if you want to be cool, if you want to be one of the beautiful people, you've got to have this bigger iPhone, or you've got to be having Botox, or you've got to be using this face cream, or, it's all about keeping us discontent with what we have and who we are, when success has nothing to do with what we're wearing, what we're driving, or where we're living. Success is how we define it. And yes, there's nothing wrong with having money. I'd love to have money. And,
oh yeah,
it allows choices and opportunities. But as you say, it doesn't make you happy. And here I am with, a mental health issue, um, not much money, um, my face falling like a souffle. I haven't got a partner, but my life is a success, and I define it as such because
yeah,
I know deep contentment.
yeah. And I see your point because money, yeah, it does make us financially rich. Of course, it's financially stable, fine. But my kids know it, and me and Kerry knows it. We are actually rich now. Why
Yes.
we say why we say that? Why we say that? Because we've got a roof over our head.
Absolutely.
We've got clean clothes every single day.
Yeah.
We've got money. Not money. We've got food on our plates every single day.
Yeah.
What more can we actually have? We've got
Well,
a bed
this
to
is
sleep
it. This is it. I mean, if you any country you go to where they live on what we would call the poverty line, you know, African country. I mean, I'm generalizing here, but African villages, etc., etc. They're not living with this billboard mentality of discontentment being thrown at you all the time, and they know, okay, it'd be far better for them to have running water and to have all the things that, you know, better make life better, but they know a joy in the little things, in friendship, in family relations, you know, in having enough, just having enough. Whereas we live in a gluttonous society and we don't feel we have a right to be happy unless we're wind tunneled beautiful at 102 and driving a Mercedes Benz that we just really can't afford the payments on.
Exactly. Yeah, I know, Kerry, we've got cats as well. Well, 9 of them.
You've got 9 of them. Oh, the most I've had is 3. But
yeah, Kerry,
I am becoming the mad lesbian cat lady. Yes.
And welcome Nick Ronald. He's a professional copywriter. I interviewed him last week.
Right.
Not on Monday, sorry, on Monday. And he put, I love this interview. Some great points shared, Karen. Good to challenge established thinking.
Yes. Established thinking is, well, established thinking is an enemy to mental health, really. And, you know, the one, I heard a phrase recently, and I've been using it more and more, that everything we want is on the other side of fear. And yet, so many of us, and I myself, was trapped for many years by fear. And again, you know, if you watch the news for 3 days in a row, suddenly your anxiety levels rise. But excuse me. Actually, real success is living a fear and anxiety free life. You know, who could ask for more?
Exactly.
Where you can be authentic. I've had to unlearn. I'm still unlearning being a people pleaser because of the damage done to me during my 10 years of marriage, domestic violence. So, yeah, the best thing you can have is a fear-free life. I mean, I remember sitting on the patio in the sun in my garden last summer. And I don't know why, just suddenly this epiphany came, and I said out loud to myself, right, that's it. I've had enough fear. I am not going to make my decisions based on fear anymore. Fear is not going to effing rule my life anymore. Now, that's easy to say and harder to implement, but I started to implement it with my heart in my throat, and eventually began to slay that dragon. And it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
No. But I also have a very good therapist. So, you know, there you go. It helps.
There you go. So my final question for you is, what piece of advice would you give someone if they're constantly obsessed with watching the news and they want to get over their own mental health?
Well, especially with coronavirus at the moment, and a lot of scaremongering and a lot of, well, you see, One of the things that has freed me the most is learning how to live comfortably with uncertainty. And the news is full of uncertainty. We don't know how well this vaccine is working. We don't know whether Boris Johnson is going to have a sensible thought. We don't know whether trade is going to. We don't know whether.
Oh my God.
We don't know whether Brexit's going to work out. We don't know whether the sun's going to. We don't know anything. So worry, So stop watching the news and start becoming comfortable with uncertainty and going, you know what? No matter what might befall us as a nation or as an individual, we can cope with support. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, all I'm going to say, it's been an absolute blast having you on.
I've loved it. Really loved it.
So did I. Loved it. I will want to be bringing you back on again. So please do not be a stranger.
No, I will not. I will always be stranger than you. But I will not be a stranger.
I don't even know how to respond to that. But anyway, thank you to everyone that's tuned in today. See, muddle my own words up.
Yeah.
Oh well. But yeah, I'm going to end this podcast now. Thank you for coming on, Karen.
You were a breath of fresh air. I enjoyed that interview.
Thank you. Okay, Kerry, this interview is going on my website. Happy days.
Excellent.
Anyway, please join me, not tomorrow, but Friday, when I've got 2 people on. So I've got 2 podcasts. One of them is Kaylee Hermanson. She is a mental health enthusiast.
That is an interesting expression. Yes.
Yes, so we'll be talking to her about that. And also, I've got a CEO of a men's man cave, Sam McDougall. He'll be coming back on. And all I've got to say is, please tune in for that. Please share this. And let's kick mental health's ass. That's all I've got to say.
Absolutely. To hell with stigma.
And on that note, thank you for all for coming on. Bye.
Bye.